Hey everybody, it's John Bryce with OnQ Financial again, the Bryson team. I had several people in the real estate community that I'm friends with ask me to do a comparison video. A video that kind of goes over why buying a home right now makes more sense than waiting until next year. And also why it makes more sense to sell right now versus what you could potentially see next year, which we're already starting to see a little bit this year. But what I want to get down to is something that's kind of old, it's kind of funny, that I used to share a lot back in the day, and that is marry the house, date the rate. Now, I know a lot of people are talking about marry the house, date the rate right now, but it's true. The investment's the house, it's not the interest rate. The interest rate's just a delegated cost that you pay based on time, but you can refinance at any point in time. And based on history, we know that interest rates always go down after a recession. And we already know that we're in a recession, folks. I mean, they're just waiting until September to announce it, but all the numbers, all the statistics show that we're in a recession, which is not a bad thing. It's a corrective measure. It'll make things better in the end. But what happens is real estate is still very strong during a recession, and interest rates, yeah, they tend to go up, but that's because of inflation. But what typically happens, inflation pushes interest rates up, but as soon as inflation goes down after the corrective measures and the recession's over with, which they're saying the life expectancy on this is end of year, and we're already starting to see some of the positive notes come from it. But what we're going to see is we'll see interest rates, yeah, they'll go up, but they're going to come back down. And this is where marry the house, date the rate is very important. Okay? So let's go to the board because I wrote this all out for you to kind of give you a breakdown of how this works. Okay? Now, interest rates, loan amounts, they're just numbers at this point. They're not factual other than this is what would happen in this occurrence. The interest rates I'm just using to show you just the disparity between this year and potentially what next year could bring. Okay? But anywho, again, marry the house, date the rate. We're going to use a loan amount of $287,000. Okay? 30-year loan. Okay? And in these two areas, we're going to use a 5.25% interest rate based on today's market and a 4.25% interest rate based on next year's market. Okay? So if you take a $287,000 loan on a 5.25% interest rate, you're going to have an principal and interest payment of $1,584.82. Okay? Now, going into the next year, we know that appreciation is going to still continue. We know that we're looking anywhere from 5 to 10% going into the next year. Okay? So 5% appreciation on $287,000 is $14,350. Okay? If it's 10%, we know it's $28,700. So instead of using either one of those numbers, we're going to blend them and come up and we're going to use an average of those two of $21,525, which, guys, is probably where it's going to end up being. Okay? So that would mean now instead of a $287,000 loan, you have a $308,000 $525 loan because your home is worth $21,525 more. Taking that loan amount into consideration with an interest rate of 4.25%, you would have a mortgage payment, principal and interest of $1,517.76, which is a difference of $67.06, which means it's $67.06 cheaper than the 5.25% interest rate, even with you paying $21,525 more. But this is where it gets interesting. If you bought this house today at $287,000 and then waited 9 to 12 months after this recession starts to really show the signs of, building back up and things get back to normal and we see the interest rates come down, which we're already starting to see some of those actions take place. If you refinance that same amount in 9 to 12 months at an interest rate of 4.25%, because that's what the future rate's going to be, your payment would be $1,411.87, which is $172 cheaper than that payment, and it's $105 cheaper than that payment, which means you're saving $105 guaranteed, plus you're making $21,525 in equity because you invested early. Appreciation is not going to stop, folks. It's just not going to stop. But this is the reason why buying now makes more sense. Because next year, we're going to see the interest rates come down. You're going to be able to buy at a cheaper price right now because the appreciation hasn't affected the value yet. So again, guys, John Bryson on Q Financial, the Bryson team. I'm here to help educate you guys on how to buy. How to buy. If you can afford a 5.25% interest rate, you need to buy now so that you can refinance it down to a 4.25% or lower later. Look at history, guys. Don't look at 2007, 2008 because that was a different monster. We want to look at actual timelines where we saw a recession take place and what happened to the interest rates. And every time going back to 1983 up, you will see 5 occasions where interest rates went down by more than 2%. So it is possible to see interest rates go down dramatically. But it will take time. But if you buy right, you invest right. Right now is time to buy, guys. And it's perfect time to sell because we're already starting to see the market slow. Some of these prices that people were trying to get for their houses, they're dropping. And a lot of it's fear. But there's nothing to be afraid of, guys. Nothing to be afraid of. Buying a home is the greatest thing you can do for yourself right now because rental rates are going up dramatically. These investors have to pay higher interest rates to buy these properties or, finance these properties. So their costs get passed on to you. And that's 100% interest. If you pay $800, $900, $1,000 a month in rent, that's 100% interest. Okay? But if you buy a house, you're putting money back into it, plus it appreciates every single year. And the average appreciation for a home in Missouri, in Columbia, is more than 4.75%. So you figure, if you're growing your capital at a rate of 4.75%, plus you're paying yourself back, you're making money. So it makes more sense to own than it does to rent. But again, guys, John Bryson on Q Financial. I could keep going, but I don't want to bore you. But this is important stuff. And if you want to write it down, just pause it. This is everything, kind of gives you an idea. But call me if you ever have questions. Again, the Bryson team on Q Financial. I'm in Missouri, located in Columbia. I service the state. You can reach me at my office at 573-303-0688, or you can also call me or text me on my cell anytime, 7 days a week, at 816-785-5054. Thank you. God bless. Have a good day.